Cheers, Minnesota Vikings fans. We finally made it. Thank heavens. Oh, thank heavens. I swear to God, it feels like these off seasons just get longer and longer, or more and more happen in them, and it just... To be fair, it's not even just with the Vikings and stuff like that. It just feels like sports in general. So... But yeah, training camp is behind us. Roster cuts are behind us. Now, we do this for real. Now is time to show the world just what the Minnesota Vikings can actually do. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into this here. So yeah, the Minnesota Vikings kick off the 2023 regular season with a home game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this isn't your father's Tampa Bay Buccaneers or even the Tom Brady Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a Tampa Bay team that's going through some changes, let's just say, and granted, the Vikings' track record and history against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers isn't necessarily the greatest, let's just put it that way. The Vikings historically have always struggled against the Buccaneers, even going back to the days of the NFC Central and stuff like that, but yeah, first game of the year, it's a home game. And we'll be wearing these bad boys. So, yeah. What better way to, show the media and show the pundits that we're actually here and we can do the darn thing than by going out there and having a convincing victory. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and kind of break it down a little bit now, shall we? So, yeah. First and foremost, starting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. As I mentioned earlier, Tom Brady is no longer the sheriff in town. The reins have been given to Baker Mayfield, who is a very, very, very wild card type player. He's one of those guys where if he has the right pieces around him and he has the right stuff on his shoulders, basically, he's very dangerous. He's very good. And, for crying out loud, he was a number 1 overall pick. Granted, looking back at that draft class, Marone. I don't know if that's necessarily a glowing endorsement, but, it happens. But yeah, the Minnesota Vikings, while they don't really have a lot on Baker, I'd say. I think we've only played him like once or twice. We know he's a loose cannon, and we know they still have weapons, so. They still have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. They still got some burners on the outside. The running game is going to be a little different with Rachaad White being the main guy now. Again, on paper, they don't really have a whole lot, but again, football's not played on paper. It's played in real life. Just ask Duke and Clemson and LSU and Florida State in college football last week. Especially that Duke and Clemson game. Holy moly, was that a blowout. But regardless, though, they still got some sneaky pieces. Not to mention that defense is nothing to sneeze at either. They still have some studs on defense. Some absolute studs on defense. Like Devin White, Antoine Winfield Jr., Shaq Barrett. They still got some really good pieces on that defense, that helped anchor a Super Bowl victory here just a few years ago against Patrick Mahomes, nonetheless. So, yeah, they still got the framework there. It's just... I don't know how much I trust their coaching staff and all that stuff, so. Yeah, now kind of flipping it over to the Vikings side of things here. The offense, the offense is going to be very intriguing to see now that we don't have Dalvin Cook. Is Alexander Madison going to be able to tote the rock like we need him to? Ty Chandler, I mean, is he going to be in the number 2? We did go out there and pick up Myles Gaskin from the Miami Dolphins, who's now on our roster, while Kene Nwangu goes on temporary IR at this point, missing the first 4 weeks at least. So, again, we'll kind of see here. My guess is they probably do what, a lot of teams are doing this day and age, basically a running back by committee. If it's like short yardage, give it to Madison, or hell, maybe even CJ Ham. If it's more like, you need a speed or a burst, maybe Ty Chandler. Gaskins, I'm trying to remember exactly Myles Gaskins, like if he's more of a burner style, physical, stuff like that. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Kevin O'Connell decides to move all those chess pieces around. But yeah, outside of the run game, I mean, we are on pace to have a lethal, potentially lethal pass game. Kirk Cousins has a full year of this guy, TJ Hawkinson, who just recently signed that massive contract extension, making him the highest paid tight end as of now. Granted, that'll probably change, the next cycle of, pay periods and stuff like that and paychecks being handed out. But for now, he's the highest paid tight end. Josh Oliver is a sneaky tight end as well, just a big potential red zone threat. Obviously, you have JJ, Justin Jefferson, who's, this kid is historic. Justin Jefferson could become the all-time greatest Vikings receiver. Dare I say he could be one of the best receivers all time if he can stay healthy by the time it's all said and done here. But just what I've seen from him, just how he makes defenses shake and quiver and scheme, which then opens it up for KJ to basically step up in that number 2 role, with Jordan Addison being, that young guy who can probably also get open and stuff like that too. Those guys are going to be key pieces to the offense. So Addison, Hawkinson, Oliver, CJ Ham, Madison, Chandler, Osborne. It's going to be fun. And Kirk definitely will have his fair share of weapons. Now, can the offensive line actually keep his ass upright? That remains to be seen because, still don't know how I feel about our depth at the offensive guard position, or maybe lack of depth, I should say. But, yeah. I just hope that Kirk Cousins can stay upright, because we're going to be going up against some nasty defenses like San Francisco. The Chargers have a good pass rush. The Bears are loading up themselves here. The Eagles, I don't think I need to go back into that either. So, yeah, we're going to be going up against some high-profile defenses. So, can we give Kirk Cousins the time and the resources available, to move this offense forward here? But, yeah, like I say, though, just kind of wrapping up the offense, I honestly have high hopes for this offense. I have high hopes for Kirk and the gang, basically, and Kevin O'Connell to keep, year 2 of his regime and year 2 of his play calling schemes and styles and stuff like that is only going to be beneficial to our guys. Granted, no more Thielen and stuff like that, but, I feel like Addison will be more than, serviceable, if not maybe, rekindle that number 2 receiver role. But now on to the defense. The defense is going to be as much of a wild card as I think I've seen in many years, because Brian Flores and the front office and all those guys basically cleaned house. Kendrick's gone. Patrick Peterson gone. Bynum gone. I mean, pretty much most of the team on defense was gutted from last year, and we just brought in a lot of our young guys. You know, the young guys are going to have to step up. Daniil Hunter, thankfully, is one of the pass rushers that's still around. I mean, which, by the way, that was an interesting saga. Harrison Smith, for what could probably and potentially be his swan song, at least in Minnesota. You know, maybe Flores can finally utilize him, unlike Donatel from last year. It just... Again, I'm excited to see the Flores defense because I'm excited to see pass rush. I'm excited to see exotic blitzes. I'm excited to see just general overall attack mentality versus the Donna shell, where basically you'd sit off like 5 or 6 yards and watch as, you know, receivers, running backs, tight ends, and fullbacks gain 5 or 6 yards on you and then juke you out of your shoes and go down for like a 40-yard gain. So, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting matchup. It's going to be a fun matchup. But most importantly, I'm just thankful we have football again, baby. And like I say, too, just kind of wrapping this all up here. Tampa Bay should be on paper a victory for the Vikings, especially being at home, week 1, you know, the juice, the energy, and all that stuff, which is going to be key because literally 4 days later, we travel to Philadelphia. Oh, boy. Like I say, do I have to go over what happened last year when we played Philadelphia week 2? And what's going to be Philadelphia's home opener. So if we can come through the first 2 weeks at least 1-1, I'll feel very confident in, you know, the squad and just how everything turns out. So, but yeah, that'll basically wrap this up. Skol, baby. Here's to another season of heartbreak, beer, fun, scores, plays, I mean, you name it. You know, the NFL season's always an intriguing season because there's so much that happens from week 1 to week 18 to the Super Bowl to the playoffs. I mean, you name it. So, we're back, baby. We're finally back. So yeah, that'll basically wrap up this quick little week 1 preview. So until we meet again, this is Jacob. Have a good day.